You ever have one of those weeks where you think, just this once, life might actually cut you a break? That was me, counting down the days to see my sister in Denver, finally letting my guard down after 8 years flying Air Force missions and 2 more clawing my way through civilian life. Turns out, the universe had other plans. The story I'm about to tell you isn't just about a botched vacation, it's about how quickly your past can come screaming back, how justice sometimes hangs by a thread, and what you do when everyone in power seems to want you silenced. So, yeah, I get to Sky Harbor way too early, still stuck in those military habits, check the exits, scan the crowd, pick the safest spot on the plane, and always keep your back to the wall. My small aircraft restoration shop back in Phoenix was finally in the black. The nightmares weren't haunting me quite so often, and I was just looking for a couple days of family, some mountain air, and maybe even the feeling that I could belong somewhere again. I'd pick 22C, window seat, middle of the aircraft, not too close to the engines or the chaos. Old habits, you know? Everyone around me was busy being normal businessman hammering away on his laptop. Young mom juggling snacks and storybooks for her kid. Nobody looked twice at me, which was perfect. Just another woman escaping Phoenix, reading a paperback and losing herself in music. That's what I wanted until 45 minutes after takeoff. The whole world tipped sideways. See, most people don't notice when a plane changes course a few degrees. But I felt it right away, something off in the way we banked. Too precise, too purposeful. On my window, the Arizona desert was giving way to the first hint of Colorado mountains. But it was what was happening above the clouds that really caught my eye. Contrails 4, 5, then 8 moving in a tight, perfect formation only military pilots could pull off. And then I saw her, Air Force One, massive and gleaming, falling into formation at our wingtip. I tried to keep breathing, tried to tell myself it was a coincidence. But trust me, Air Force One doesn't just pop up beside civilian traffic. The president's bird means lockdowns, cleared air corridors, and nothing but silence for hundreds of miles. Something was very, very wrong, and no one else even seemed to notice. The captain's voice came on, calm as a summer breeze, just some minor communication issues, a few routine adjustments. If you've ever listened to someone lie for a living, you know that tone. He was scared, following orders he didn't understand. So now I'm running through every worst-case scenario in my head: terrorist threat, presidential emergency, mechanical failure, none of it adds up. If we were in real danger, we'd be landing anywhere but here, not flying in formation with the commander-in-chief. Then the radio crackles, military code on open frequency, and my old call sign Falcon 9 comes over the airwaves. 8 years since I'd heard that. It wasn't just coincidence now. Somebody knew exactly who I was and where I was sitting, and they'd thrown the biggest piece on the board: Air Force One, just to box me in. 30 minutes ticked by, every muscle in my body tight as wire. I could see the tension building: more jets, bigger formation, everyone else still reading magazines and watching cartoons. The suit beside me finally notices, squints at the window, and I feed him a line about training exercises. Inside, I'm screaming. Captain comes back, his voice stretched thin: change of plans. Unscheduled landing at Peterson Space Force Base. Purely precautionary. Peterson, not a civilian airport, not even close. This is a place where security trumps comfort, where secrets go to hide, where if you disappear, nobody asks questions. We drop like a stone, hit the tarmac, and before the wheels stop spinning, security vehicles swarm us, flashing lights, military police, the works. The announcement comes: everyone out. Have your IDs ready. Just a quick check. The guy beside me mutters about missing meetings, but I can see it on his face now. He's scared too. Officers come aboard, face like stone, checking everyone. But when they hit my row, the lead sergeant pauses, gives my license an extra beat, murmurs something in her radio. Ms. Martinez, you need to come with us for additional screening. And just like that, I'm not a passenger anymore, I'm a target. They lead me out past the tired families and confused businessmen straight into a waiting armored vehicle. Not a bus, not a van and armored truck, the kind they use for people they can't afford to lose. Flanked by guards, driven across the base, we don't stop at the terminal with the others. We keep rolling past hangars and into the heart of the base. The reality hits. Someone thinks I'm a threat, or someone's trying to protect me from one. Inside, the mood gets colder. They walk me through checkpoints, mirror glass, guards everywhere, until we reach a little white room with 2 bright lights and a table meant to make you sweat. I wait 45 minutes, alone with my thoughts, knowing every camera in the room is watching. Finally, in walks a woman in Air Force Blue Major Angela Torzan, a man in a dark suit, Agent Shun, Homeland Security. "We need to talk about your activities," she says, calm as a cat watching a mouse. Photos come out me restoration shop, surveillance angles I never noticed, paperwork for planes I'd bought, especially that old F-16. They start poking holes, authorization codes that don't exist, contracts with clauses I swear I never signed, a digital trail of emails and payments I don't recognize. Suddenly I'm looking at my whole life. Weaponized against Messumion has set me up as the center of an illegal arms ring, transferring sensitive tech to foreign operatives. I try to fight, try to explain, but every answer I give feels like walking deeper into quicksand. "I want a lawyer," I finally say, and they trade that little look, the one that means things are about to get worse. They tell me the charges: arms export violations, Espionage Act, the kind of thing that puts people away for life. And then the threats get darker. They hint that my right to a lawyer could just evaporate. National security, they say, like it's a magic spell. Hours pass. I replay every decision, every phone call, every deal I ever made, looking for where I slipped. I'm exhausted, angry, and for the first time in a long time, really scared. And that's when the door opens again, and the twist walks, I know, weathered colonel with a face full of lines and eyes that say he's seen it all. Colonel Price. He glances at the cameras, jams the surveillance with a little device, and whispers, "We don't have long. You're being set up, and I might be your only shot out of this." He lays it out 8 years ago. During a recon mission over Syria, I accidentally recorded something I was never meant to see. American personnel, foreign nationals, weapons transfers, all in grainy detail. That footage was supposed to be destroyed, but copies survived. Now, someone is cleaning house, making sure no one who knows about those missions ever talks. The frame job is a smoke-a-screen way to erase me, discredit the evidence, and keep the big fish safe. He's got proof, 2 intercepted messages, names I recognize from old briefings, a story so wild it almost sounds fake. But my gut says he's telling the truth. Suddenly, the people questioning me aren't just looking for answers, theory covering their own tracks. The plan? Make me confess, use my testimony to throw off any investigation, and then bury me so deep nobody remembers my name. But Colonel Price is playing a deeper game. He arranges an escape-smuggled radio, secret meeting, and a hidden elevator into the real heart of the base. A command center that looks like something out of spy thriller, staffed by people who actually want to stop the corruption. There I meet Major Singh, Inspector General's office, and she shows me the footage from that old mission, every box, every face, every dollar changing hands. It's all there, and it's damning. Turns out, the conspiracy runs wide: 47 military personnel, 15 defense contractors, foreign spies, the works. They've killed pilots before, made it look like accidents, and if I don't play this next part just right, I'm next on the list. Their plan? Drug me, break me, make me sign a confession. Our plan? Let them think they've won. Wear a hidden recorder, catch them admitting everything, and bring the whole rotten mess crashing down. So I go back to my cell, act out the part-slurred speech, glassy eyes, the whole 9 yards. At 4 a.m., the conspirators gather Major Torres, a DoD bigwig named Caldwell, a colonel, and Agent Shun who, bless his heart, still thinks he's working a regular case. They spell out their story. Price and Singh are the real villains. I'm their puppet. Everything else is a setup. They offer me a plea deal, minimal charges if I just play along. Meanwhile, my recorder's catching every word. And then, just as the sun starts to rise, the fire alarms go off. Federal marshals storm the base, Torres and her friends get cuffed, and Singh and Price sweep in with congressional investigators. Turns out, my recording plus the evidence Singh and Price have been building for years, the final piece of the puzzle. The whole command structure is under investigation. Headlines are breaking before breakfast. By the time I'm hustled out the gate, Every network in America is screaming about the scandal of illegal arms sales, murdered pilots, congressional hearings. I get shuttled off to Washington, not to see my sister, but to testify before the biggest political circus of the decade. And when I take that oath, looking out over a sea of cameras, family members of murder pilots, and politicians desperate for a soundbite, I realize I'm not just a survivor, I am the linchpin in exposing the greatest betrayal in military history. The hearings are brutal hours of grilling, every detail of my life dragged into the light. But we play the recordings to as Caldwell, the whole crew, caught admitting to murder and treason. The committee is stunned. Veterans in the crowd stand and salute when I finish. Singh and Price testify. Families of the murdered pilots speak. The truth is out, and the fallout is massive. A year later, I'm standing in front of a room full of Air Force Academy cadets, my chest heavy with the Congressional Medal of Honor and the kind of scars you don't see. I tell them what really matters, that your oath isn't to your boss or your paycheck. It's to the Constitution, to the truth, to the people who trust you to do what's right. Cadets ask me about the conspirators' life sentences for Torres and Caldwell, decades for the rest, new reforms, new protections for whistleblowers. One young woman asks if I regret any of it. Losing my business, my privacy, my old life. Only that it had to happen at all, I tell her. But sometimes, standing up is the only way forward, even when you're scared, even when you're alone. That's the real story, not just the headline, not just the medals, but the everyday courage to call out injustice, to fight for the people who can't fight for themselves, and to believe, even when the odds are stacked, that the truth still matters. So, what would you have done if you were in my shoes, walked away, or stood your ground? Drop your thoughts below, let me know where you're watching from, and if this story hit home, don't forget to share your own. We're all in this together, one way or another.